YouTube family, yes sir, it's your boy, and we're back with another video. It's been a while since I uploaded a video for you guys, so I feel like it's only right if I do it with the banger. So in this video today, I'm going to show you guys how to increase your setups, your win rates on the supply and demand zones. Okay, so I will be breaking down step by step on what I have been seeing and what I have been backtesting, and it works almost every time. Okay, of course, again, market is, we can't always predict where the market's going to bounce from, but we could always have confluences lined up to where it gives us a high probability of winning. Okay, so we're going to get into that in a bit. But before I even get into the video, man, I just want to show you guys a Discord, right? If you guys haven't been in the Discord, or you guys are interested in joining the Discord, we do a lot in this community. Okay, so we do call out forex signals, we do call out future signals, but not only that, man, but we also live trade every London session. Okay, so every London session I'm on live trading with the Discord community, and you guys could have, all the resources that you need in this Discord, man. Like, you literally have one-on-one sessions that you can schedule with me, right? You have everybody in the Discord that is willing to help each other and see each other grow, and that's what you want to be a part of, man. Trading could be lonely, so that is the main reason why I opened up this Discord, because I understood how it was when I first started trading, and I feel like if you have like-minded people around you, your only way is to succeed, right? You're only gonna get better and better as the day goes by. So, you guys want to join the Discord, again, the link will be down below. And yeah, we do get lit in there every session. There's NY session, there's London session. We do have Asian session. If you guys do trade Asian session, you guys can hop on there. There's usually some people that do trade Asian session, so you guys can always join that as well and chop it up. You know what I mean? So that is a Discord. But beside all that, right? Let's get into the actual video, man. So supply and demand, right? If you guys know, I trade supply and demand, mainly supply and demand liquidity grabs, and there's a couple things that I have noticed when we are in our session. Okay, so a couple of things I want to show you guys. If you guys don't know what supply and demand is, it's literally just aggressive buying, aggressive selling with a breakout structure, and it has a gap, right? Basically what that means is that gap is telling you that price wants to come back, so that the retail traders or other investors could get back in to push the market that certain way. You know what I mean? So in this video, I'm going to show you guys what I have been noticing, and it's been playing out to the T almost every time. Again, market's not perfect, but this happens almost all the time. Okay, so I'm gonna go over 3 examples with you guys. Again, if you guys don't understand supply and demand, I will break it down a little bit in this video, but this is not a video where I break down the strategy. This is a video how we can fine tune our zones to give us more confidence in taking that setup. Okay, so couple of things I want you guys to see here. This is the first example that I'm going to show you guys. So of course we are, let me turn on the 200, because I mainly use the 200, right, to kind of see where price is heading towards. So again, you kind of see that we are under the 200, right? But you got to go to the higher time frames. Okay, the higher time frame is we are under the 200, but you have to pay attention to what price has been doing all of these previous sessions, right, or the previous days. So we have been coming down pretty hard. At this point, you are bound for some type of retracement, right, because you have to grab liquidity in order for it to keep coming down. So down here, you kind of see that we have this gray box is where my session starts, right? So this is 2 a.m. Eastern time. So I get on an hour before London opens because I like trading pre-London. But I want to show you guys this. Okay, so you see we're coming from a downtrend. Okay, we're breaking structure. This, if you can see over here, we had a high sitting up here. Okay, if you draw a line at that wick, let's see, you see how this candle wicked above, that is considered a break of structure for me. Okay, not only are we breaking this high over here, but we're also breaking multiple structure here. If you could just put out the path line, you could kind of see that. Cool, we're coming down here, breaking structure, coming down here, we're breaking structure. Again, these are minor breaks over here, but we're still breaking structure to the upside, which is showing you that, cool, we may have buyers coming into the market. Okay, now what I notice is when we draw our zones, okay, we usually draw it at the, let me clear this out. We'll usually draw zones at where there are gaps. Okay, so we have a gap down here, Okay, if you guys don't know how to draw gaps, go watch my other videos. I literally break down step by step how you find high probability zones. Okay, so we have a gap right here. Okay, we have another gap right here, and then we have another gap. Okay, so what usually happens is when you see there's 2 or 3 zones, okay, that top zone will most likely get disrespected almost all the time. Okay, because if you kind of look at the fib, let's say we pull out the fib here from this low right here to this high. Okay, we are at like the 50% area, and that could be where you want to buy. Most of the time you want to buy at the 70 down here. Okay, because this is a more discounted price. Now if you buy up here, what I have noticed is it can either go up or it can either just come down, and most of the time it will disrespect the zone because we are not really that discounted yet, you know what I mean? So you want to kind of see where the fib is playing at from that low to that high, and then kind of see which zones are there. Okay, so you could kind of see the bottom zone, the last zone that we have, is under the 85%, or it's above the 85%, right? That's ideally you don't want to be in that area, because this, if it comes down to here, you might have a full retracement and it might just blast through the zone, right? So you want to pay attention to the second zone, because the second zone is where the 70% is laying inside of. Okay, so for the first zone, if it's at the 50%, you might want to stay away from it because it's kind of like in an indecisive level, and it doesn't know if it really wants to bounce from there or not. You have a better setup if it's at the 70%. Okay, so let me just clear out the fib real quick. So as you guys see right here, we have this zone tap here, right? Now most of the time what we would do is we would set buy stops at the break of the candle, which is probably gonna be somewhere up here. But let's just play this out and see what happens. So cool, we had almost a break, so I'll consider this a break. Most of the time we would take our entry here, stops below the zone. Okay, and then we target our 1-to-1. Now look what happened. Okay, first zone is disrespected. Now it's going to be disrespected most of the time, because if you look at the low to the high and you draw a fib, you're going to see that that second zone is most likely at that 70%, and that is where you will see buyers come back in, because now we're buying low and we're not buying high. Okay, so now first zone is disrespected, so cool. Now the second zone, so again, what do? We always wait for that break of a candle before we take our entry. Okay, so cool, we have a bullish candle, and boom, that would be where our entry is, right? Because we had that first candle break right there. Again, stops below the zone, and then go for your 1-to-1. Now let's see. Boom. So literally what happened here is if there are buyers trying to buy up at this zone, okay, you are part of liquidity. Okay, so every setup that you do, every strategy that you do, you will eventually become liquidity. Okay, so by doing this is going to help us avoid fake outs and also help us catch a better setup, knowing that we're buying or selling at a discounted price. Okay, so this second zone, respect it. Again, let's pull out the fib again from the low to the high. Look what happened here. The 70% is right here. Okay, we are respecting it multiple times. We have never closed below that 70%. As it comes back down, it's still respecting the 70%. We're still respecting the zone, and it took off. Okay, so this is literally what I have been seeing every single day, or most of the time in the markets. And by doing this, by waiting for that second zone to tap, we will have a higher win rate and a higher probability of the trade playing out. Okay, now that was the first setup. Now let's go to the second setup. So this was a setup that we took that the Discord took yesterday, actually today during London. So as you guys can see right here, we are bullish. Okay, we are breaking structure to the upside. We took out these highs over here. Okay, we're also breaking the structure. Now a couple things that you want to keep in mind is when you have a demand, let's say we use a demand zone as for example, because we're bullish here. If you have a demand sitting somewhere up here, okay, let's say this is where your demand is at up here, and this is where you had that break of structure, you do not want to take a demand above the high or the low that got broken. Okay, so you ideally, if this is the highest point right here and the structure shifted to the upside, you want demand zones underneath this area, okay? Because this is, you got to see where that move happened that caused that break of structure. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where you see that your zone is above the structure that was broken, you do not want to take that setup, okay? Because first of all, you're buying too high. Second of all, if you're breaking structure, you're bound for a retracement, okay? So as we break structure to the upside, a couple of things I saw here, okay? We do have a demand here. If you want, you can make this demand like to right here. Okay, we do have that demand, but we also have another demand down here, okay? And these are two high probability demand zones, okay? But again, pull out your fib from this low point to this high, okay? See where you are at. This area right here, we are still floating around here near the 50%. So you do not want to be entering, because why? Because again, the market is very indecisive at these levels. At the 50%, it doesn't know if it wants to come up or it wants to come down. So you want to stay away from it. Ideally, you want it to come down to the 70 to the 85%, but you want it to wick off the 85%. You don't want it to close the body right here at the 85%, because that's going to show you that, cool, we might have a lot of sellers come in to retrace this whole move, okay? So let's play this out. So if buyers were going to take that first break here, which it did give that first break, right? So it had a break, and then look what it happened. Look what happened afterwards. It stopped out everybody that took buys here, okay? So again, this is a liquidity grab at this demand zone, but you're also running into a second zone, which is very nice because you already took out liquidity, right? You already took out buyers that were trying to buy there. Now you have another demand zone that's tapping, so that zone is going to give you validation that you could definitely buy from here, okay? So as the first zone got disrespected, the second zone got tapped, okay? So now we're just focusing on the second zone. Now what do we do here? We wait for that first candle break. So we don't have a break. Now look at that rejection. This is a A+ setup, okay? If you see a candle come deep into your zone and it reject and it never close into the zone, that is a sign that's showing you that, cool, we have a lot of buying pressure and this is a valid demand zone, okay? So let's play this out. Boom, another rejection candle, okay? So all we're waiting right now is just a candle break. So let's play this out. Boom, we had that first candle break right here, okay? Again, stops will be below the zone because this is a 5-minute zone. And then you're 1-to-1, right? Because again, I'm scalping, I'm trying to get in and out as fast as I can. I'm not trying to hold no trade. So again, 1-to-1, this is all you're going for. And look what just happened, right? Literally your 1-to-1 was hit. Now this is valid buys because if you pull out the fib, okay, I really want you guys to see this because this is very important. As we are at the zone, okay, we came down, we never tap into the zone, okay, for one. And then if you look really closely, we broke back above the 70%, okay, which is nice. That's where you want price to be at. And then this next candle that printed, that's this doji bullish candle, it rejected off the 70% again. So that is showing you that, cool, we came down, we tapped the 85%, okay, we never closed into our zone. We are respecting the 70%, which is a very key level on the fib. And from there, it just took off, okay? So if you guys see setups where there's a zone right underneath the zone that you have marked up, pull out the fib and see where the retracement could go to, okay? Because ideally you want price to keep coming back so that you could get in at the best price possible, okay? So this was the second setup. This is going to be the third setup. This is a supply setup, okay? So again, if we are looking at supply zones, again, I'm not gonna go over gas because y'all should already know this, or if y'all don't, go watch my other videos. What is a break of structure to me, right? A break of structure is a wick. So right here we had a low at this level, and this candle came down and wick below this area. So that is a valid break of structure for me, okay? Now we have two supply zones. Now you see we have one right here with the gap. This is a high probability setup, and we have one sitting up here which is also has a gap and a major break of structure as well. So this move right here, okay, that's a break of structure, and this is a break of structure, okay? Now you want to pay attention to the fib as well. So let's pull out the fib again from the highest point up here to the bottom right here, okay? Now look at where this zone is at. this zone is right at that 50% level. So again, why do you not want to take this? Because that 50% level is a very indecisive level. So it can either bounce from your area or it can just disrespect it. Okay. So as you can see up here, if price does come up here, this is where the 70% is at, and this is where the 85% is at. Okay. So you want to take a setup up here, which is the only area that you're going to get a setup is at this supply area, because this is a valid supply zone. Okay, so we play this out. Let's see what happens. Okay, so we're in the zone here. Now let's see if we do get a fake out if traders are selling. So right there, you see how you took a this was a break of a candle. It never broke the zone, and then you would have your stops here, and then your 1-to-1 would have been disrespected. That's a fake out, right? So your liquidity at this zone. Why? Because you're at the 50%. Now, as we took out liquidity, we tapped into the second zone, okay? Now, as you're in the second supply zone, this is valid because if we get that, let's see where we get that first break. Boom, that first break is right here. So you would have taken the shorts here, your stops up here, and then your 1-to-1. And let's see, boom, just like that, right? So let's pull out the fib and let's kind of see what happened here. Okay, so we pull out the fib from this level to here. Look at what is happening with that 70% level. Okay, as we tap into the zone, which is 85% as well. Okay, we close right at the 70%. That next bearish candle close underneath that 70%. So that is showing you that that 70% is being really respected. So as you take that break, you have a lot of things in your favor. You already took out liquidity at the first zone, you tap into the second zone, and you also have that 70% sitting right there that works in your favor. Okay, so as you are respecting these zones, you are also respecting that 70%, which is a very key level. Okay, and then from there the rest was history. So I hope this video really helps you guys out. I have been caught in a couple of fake outs where that first zone never holds and then that second zone always hit, but then we get too afraid to take that second trade because that first zone, we were too excited about it actually going to our TP, right? But as you backtest this and as you look through these zones, that if you have if you have 2 or 3 zones right underneath that zone that you have marked up at the top or at the bottom, you want to be very careful with that zone and pull out the fib to see where your 70% is at. And then from there, you could base your entry on, okay, cool, I have to wait for price to come back to these levels, and then I'll feel safe buying because now it's more discounted than at the 50%, because that 50% is liquidity, okay? There's a lot of retail traders trading that 50% golden zone, and that is where you will get stopped out. So if you have multiple zones, okay, pay attention to that second zone. That third zone, most of the time, is going to retrace the whole move. So that second zone is where you want to be at, okay? So again, I hope this video helps you guys out. And 2024 has been a crazy year. We have been growing. Everybody's been learning in the Discord. You know, I have seen a lot of progress in myself as well, and you know, it's just going to get better. So again, thank you for watching the video. I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, peace.